JDRF was founded by the parents of children with type 1 diabetes, people who realized that there was a need for a dedicated and focused effort to cure this disease. While there are some common challenges with other forms of diabetes in the efforts to understand, treat, and ultimately cure type 1 diabetes, the autoimmune component of T1D makes the cure all the more challenging. There is a need for a global organization focused on T1D research, a way for people affected by this disease, children, adolescents, adults, and families, to make a difference for themselves and their loved ones. Through their support, JDRF is today the largest charitable supporter of T1D research to cure, better treat, and ultimately prevent T1D. JDRF's mission is to discover, develop, and deliver research advances that cure, better treat, and prevent T1D. As the global leader in the fight against T1D, JDRF's research programs are comprehensive, addressing the hopes and dreams of every person with T1D for the best quality of life and for a cure. We believe JDRF has an obligation to do all it can to reduce the day-to-day challenges of living with T1D, as well as to reverse or even prevent its complications in the near term as we work toward our longer-term goal of a cure. On the way to a cure, JDRF is committed to keeping individuals with T1D healthy and reducing the burden of living with the disease. For instance, by improving glucose control with drugs and devices. A device such as an artificial pancreas would automate glucose testing and insulin delivery. Also, for those patients who have lived with the disease for decades, JDRF believes it is essential to find new ways to prevent, reverse, or treat complications of T1D. Additionally, as part of a comprehensive research program on T1D, JDRF is funding research to further understand the underlying causes of the disease and to develop strategies to prevent the disease from occurring in future generations. JDRF recognizes that curing, better treating, and preventing T1D won't occur without fully leveraging critical partnerships. JDRF partners with the academic sector, the U.S. National Institutes of Health, other funders and foundations, industry, investors, regulatory agencies, and healthcare payers. We collaborate with these other partners across the T1D landscape to accelerate the translation of novel discoveries, moving from the laboratory through commercial development, on to clinical evaluation of safety and efficacy, through regulatory and reimbursement approval, and ultimately delivery to patients by doctors. From the start, JDRF set forward an ambitious goal to prevent disease development, to find better treatments, and eventually to find a cure for T1D. That goal has been matched by an urgent drive and unrelenting determination. That is what makes us successful. JDRF's determination and volunteer passion drive our funding and advocacy activities. Generous gifts to JDRF have made a continuously positive impact on the way people live with T1D today. Plus, we've brought hope for a cure into sharp focus. It's the millions of people carrying that hope who will determine our future. We're successfully raising funds for the research programs that bring us closer to our goal. At the same time, JDRF is proud to lead our peers in fundraising efficiency. More of the money we raise goes directly to funding research efforts, directly targeted at curing, better treating, and ultimately preventing T1D. The ultimate metric of success will be a cure for T1D. However, JDRF won't choose between a cure in the future and better, safer, and healthier lives for people with T1D today. That's why JDRF continues accelerating research progress towards a cure, while also playing a linchpin role in the development and delivery of transformational therapies for all of those living with T1D. JDRF works to decrease barriers to commercial development of therapies. In fact, JDRF is an organization that defines success as the point at which advances reach through to patients. So a key JDRF goal is to help speed delivery of research advances to patients. JDRF does this by funding research directly and by influencing the research priorities of others. That research is generating a better understanding of the disease and the variability of T1D across patients. JDRF is not only driving therapeutic development opportunities through preclinical research and clinical research, but also working to clarify regulatory approval pathways, also influencing insurance reimbursement for type 1 diabetes therapies. Finally, it's critically important that clinicians are educated and willing to adopt new treatment options for patients as they become available. We measure our progress by the movement of therapies across this spectrum of activities. We call it the pipeline that goes from academic laboratories all the way to patients. All of these activities are necessary for us to achieve our ultimate goal of a cure. And on the way to that cure, therapies that provide healthier, safer, and easier lives for those with T1D. For more than 40 years, JDRF has been a leader in the search for an end to T1D through both research funding and advocacy. Some people mistakenly think that's all we're doing because during that time, we've always talked about a cure as a singular destination, a return to normal physiology. What they don't realize is that we're engaged in a process of curing T1D. That a cure isn't just a destination, but also a journey. Part of our mission is to help those living with T1D today to live healthier, easier, and safer lives until we arrive at the end of our journey. In addition, some people believe that T1D affects only the juvenile population. We understand that the word juvenile is no longer descriptive of the disease or those who suffer from it. JDRF's market research today actually tells us that 85% of those in the U.S. with T1D are adults. We must continuously communicate that JDRF is an organization for all ages and all stages of this disease. The new JDRF identity was created with these key considerations in mind. We've dropped the formal name, Juvenile-Diabetes-Research-Foundation, from our identity, and we're simply known today as JDRF. This identity better reflects our commitment to work for all those with type 1 diabetes, regardless of age. JDRF-funded research has advanced T1D-related science significantly in the 40 years since our founding. And today we are the global leader in driving the translation of research progress into better treatments and an eventual cure for people with T1D. We are on the cusp of tangible advances that will change the lives of people with T1D. We're working hard to gain new insights that can be used to drive the development of therapies that will dramatically improve the lives of people with this disease. Today, we know that a biological cure for T1D requires not only restoring beta cell function through either regeneration or replacement of beta cells, but also by preventing their immune destruction in the first place. JDRF is aggressively pursuing both approaches to restore the cells necessary for a person to live free of insulin shots. Regeneration of insulin-producing beta cells is an area in which JDRF research has led the way. This approach could one day leverage the body's ability to replace the cells killed by the T1D immune attack. By combining regeneration along with the therapy that protects these cells from future immune destruction, we can see the outlines of a cure for type 1 diabetes. By combining regeneration along with the therapy that protects these cells from future immune destruction, we can see the outline of a future cure for T1D. In the near term, we will try to get around the problem of autoimmunity by encapsulating replacement islets within a barrier that protects them from immune attack. Encapsulation of islets is an area of intense focus for JDRF, one in which we have seen dramatic progress in the development of novel biomaterials that may one day be able to thwart the body's autoimmune attack. When it comes to transforming how people live with T1D on the way to a cure, JDRF's Artificial Pancreas project leads the way. We're automating insulin delivery. JDRF's Artificial Pancreas project is driven by a consortium of leading clinical researchers, mathematicians, engineers, who are all partnering with industry to accelerate the development of technologies underlying an artificial pancreas. JDRF funding is supporting the development of these technologies, in addition to other efforts such as faster-acting insulin, improved insulin delivery mechanisms, and glucose-modulating therapies that could decrease insulin requirements or the risk of hypoglycemia. One challenge JDRF faces is helping people understand that there are two major types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease in which a person's pancreas stops producing insulin, which is a hormone that enables people to get energy from their food. Type 2 diabetes is a metabolic disorder in which a person's body still may produce insulin, but is unable to use it effectively. JDRF is solely focused on type 1 diabetes, which in the past was called juvenile diabetes. We've dropped the formal name of Juvenile-Diabetes-Research-Foundation from our identity and are now known simply as JDRF. This better reflects our commitment to work for all people with type 1 diabetes regardless of age. Another challenge is that T1D has historically been in an area of medical research that was not a priority for government or industry. JDRF is working to change that and to make type 1 diabetes research a priority. With additional funding, JDRF will transform our capabilities to go farther and faster than ever before. We've already expanded our research scope, moving into more translational research and clinical trials. We are raising our voices louder than ever before in our advocacy efforts, influencing not only government-sponsored medical research, but also regulatory policies, reimbursement, and clinician adoption. We're working with more partners and patients to achieve more and better outcomes for people with T1D. But these new activities require more resources, more skills, and expanded capabilities. There is a critical gap in resources for translational research for T1D therapies. Today, there is a critical need for additional resources for translating basic scientific discoveries into therapeutic development opportunities within industry. With expanded resources, JDRF can provide additional support for development of the therapies that will keep people with T1D healthy and safe, while also continuing to support the basic scientific research which will be required to fully understand and ultimately cure the disease.